real simple. Tip your cap to Stanford. They outplayed us today. They outcompeted us. They got the 2-out hits and the 2 strike hits, and we didn't. They played great defense. They were the better team today in terms of who played the best, and that's doesn't matter records or stats or metrics. The team who wins is the team who plays the best, and they played better than we did today, and so obviously we're sort of happy we got the series win. I think big picture we'll be happy with that because that's a much better team than maybe their conference record shows. Got Howard pitching up and down their roster and a really good lineup that has a lot of threats. So and they got 30 hits on the weekend and 17 of them came with 2 outs. So they just they did a really good job competing, and we were fortunate to get 2 victories on the weekend. So we'll just have a recovery off day tomorrow, and then look to get back to training and get ready for Louisville this Thursday.
I was going to ask you, what can you do to get that final out? I mean, what is it? Is it a mental thing, you think? What do you think's going on there with that?
It just it depends on the situation. I mean, a lot of times we're pitching to let the defense make plays, and other times we're pitching for a strikeout. And sometimes it just comes down to who's going to win that pitch, and it comes down to a battle of that me versus you type competitor. And sometimes you make good pitches and the guy takes an ugly swing and bloops one in, and other times you make a bad pitch and he hits it hard and right at the defender. So it's just sometimes it's got a little bit of luck to do with it as well. But I think in particular in today it just looked like they were very locked in and focused, and found a way to just put the barrel on the ball with 2 strikes, and they did that often with 2 outs and 2 strikes today.
What was your assessment of Chance Fitzgerald's performance today? I felt like he was able to come out on the mound and really stabilize things for a while there.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they hit our lefties really hard this weekend, and so we felt like we needed to go to a right-hander. We didn't have too many options left with all the pitching we had used already on the weekend, but Chance has done that before, where he's gone and settled in and given us 3, 4, 5 innings of good pitching. And outside of the solo home run off the foul pole, I thought he was really good usage of 3 pitches: fastball, cutter, slider, and did a nice job keeping us in it. We just unfortunately couldn't get much going offensively to have that big crooked number, big inning, 3-spot or more, and weren't able to string those quality at-bats together where we could have that big explosive inning like we've had in the past.
You mentioned Stanford's ability to hit your lefties so far this weekend. For BJ Billy, just a bad start after his first 2 previous starts. Did you see anything from him that kind of, concerns you moving forward?
No, I think any time you're a pitcher that BJ's not necessarily an overpowering pitcher. So when you're more in that crafty left-hander type, that's more who you are. That's your identity. Then you got to be able to land your breaking balls. You got to be able to use your changeup, and then you got to use your fastball effectively. And when you're going in, you got to stick it in there. Otherwise, you got to try to lift down but go up above the strike zone effectively when you want to. And the mistake pitches that got hit hard and got hit out were just mistakes that looked like to me were up in the zone. And sometimes they just did a good job. Just good hitters doing a good job getting mistake pitches either over the middle of the plate or up in the zone. And they just first 3 hitters of the game, it was 3 lasers, double homer. That's about as good as a start to a game as you would hope for anyone. But he settled in there pretty good, and then gave up a couple more in the 5th, and then it was time to go to somebody else. But yeah, that's a good offensive team. That's a good team. That's a team that's much better than their record shows, and I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a little bit of a run, just maybe using this win today as a springboard to help them over these next few weeks.
The first couple of games you did pretty good. The runs to scoring position with 2 outs and approach today or something that's what was different about it?
I don't know. I think the approach looked like the execution of the approach was off at times. You know, guys who normally don't chase down in the zone, chasing down in the zone. But it could be guys just having off days, and you know, just so happens they come up in you know, runners in scoring position type stuff, and a guy just has a bad day. I mean, every good hitter has an 0 for once in a while, and then you got to also tip your cap to Stanford's defense. I mean, how many diving plays did they have today? Center fielder made a couple, and you know, they shrunk the field really well defensively today, and didn't make any errors. And really, until the very end of the game, they weren't walking us either. I think our first 2 times through the order, we only had 1 walk, and so they weren't giving us much. And you know, so they played really well. I mean, they made big time defensive plays to save runs. So I think we would have that stat line would have been a lot better with runners in scoring position. But you tip your cap to the defenders out there making web gems.
Jack put him in yesterday. Was a pinch hitter, came out, got hit today. You get him to start, just a couple of hits for RBIs. You talk about, is he a guy that can maybe solidify yourself there at right field?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think, you know, but I feel that way about McClatty and Becerra and TP Wentworth as well. So, you know, I don't know what the best decision is. Is it just picking one of those 4 guys and riding with them, you know, or trying to keep all of them fresh and use them in a way that, you know, keeps them all engaged, because all of them deserve to play and deserve an opportunity, especially the older guys. You know, Becerra, Crighton, McClatty, senior, junior, sophomore, been in the program, haven't really done anything to not earn a start, not earn a spot. So do feel like that, you know, we do need to keep finding ways for those guys to contribute. But what Jack did today was really good. I mean, he hit 4 balls on the screws, ended up with a couple of hits, but had 4 balls right around 100 miles an hour off the bat, which is, you know, really good contact. So very pleased with how Jack swung the bat today.
When you're managing that situation with many right fielders, I guess, is it difficult for you and your staff, or is it kind of, we're just gonna let them know before we get out there in the lineup, like they'll just go about it and they enter pitching and things like that?
Yeah, it's we just kind of try to play the hot hand, you know, and whoever we feel is swinging the bat the hottest at the time. So for a while there was McClatty, it was also Becerra. It's been Jack for a minute, but maybe it's Jack's turn to get a few starts in a row now as well. So and then giving TP a shot, you know, he really hadn't had much playing time, but he's a very good player. He's going to be a very good player in this program, so we've got to keep him engaged too. But yeah, it is tough to, you know, to write a lineup and leave guys out of the lineup that should be in the lineup. It's always tough. But it's also a good problem to have, and it speaks to the depth of our offense. And, so, keeping those guys fresh, if the situation were to come where they become, you know, one of those guys becomes a regular and in there all the time, then, you know, having 50, 60, 70, 80 at-bats under their belt throughout the season whenever their time does come will certainly serve them well.
You are halfway through the conference season now. You got some big series coming up here in the next few weeks. What do you want to see you guys do differently or better to make sure you can continue to be, you know, where you're sitting now, which is you're still in first place right now?
Well, we just we obviously have an ace in Hayden Canuck, and then I think we need some stability in the weekend rotation. Need to solidify that. We have 2, you know, premium back end guys in Malstead and Garris. And then we have some guys that we feel really good about. You know, Titsworth and Dvorsky and Joe Allen and who am I missing? Somebody else. And then Hudson Lee's been, you know, I know he didn't have a great day today, but he made good pitches, and they did a good job. But we've got depth on our pitching staff for sure, and figuring out how to get as many quality starts on the weekend as possible, because yesterday, you know, it's hurt us a bit, and we've survived it, where a starting pitcher has been out of the game early, and it taxes the bullpen. Now, it's mostly happened on Sundays until BJ kind of solidified things on Sundays, but now it's happened a couple times on Saturday too. So we'll just have to, you know, figure out how to just put these guys in the best spots to be successful. And you know, we enter a period also where, you know, we only have 2 midweek games left on the season, so I think we can be a little more strategic in how we're gonna, what strategy we're using for, you know, who's the best guy to go after, you know, Aiden, who's the best guy to, you know, whatever, right? So it would be nice to, you know, have minimal midweek games where we didn't have to burn some guys, and now some of the guys who have only been pitching on the midweeks get the opportunity to now move to the weekend. Good to see McGovern back. You know, Talon Bells comes to mind as a guy who's only pitched on the midweeks that shifts to the weekend now, and Michael Gillen's return is, you know, days and weeks, not months. So he'll be another valuable piece that maybe can help out as well. So we'll see, but we really don't have that many complaints of where we are right now. I like the way we compete. I like the guys. I like how they work. I like their fight. We're not perfect, but they're gonna put in the time. They're gonna work hard, and they're about all the right things. So you know, we'll just keep our head down and just keep trying to be the number 1 ranked team and getting better. And we've got some things to get better at, obviously, as everyone does. But yeah, it's, you know, if we have a second half like we did the first half, I think we'll be in pretty good shape.
Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, Coach.